Check. Alrighty. And there we are. Hello and welcome, heroes, to Planeshifters, a D&D actual play. Hope everyone's having a good day today. How are you guys?
Doing good.
Good,
How was
good.
your week, DM?
Oh, it has been busy. We got a new upcoming Kickstarter soon, Extraordinary Expeditions. So I have been busting my ass off trying to get, well, me and the wife have been working hard trying to get that ready, and I can't get my chair to slide. There it goes. To get that prepared for October. So it's very exciting and time consuming. But that's how it always goes. So I want to thank everyone for joining us today here at the Planeshifters Crit Academy show. This is episode 3. If you've not joining us for the first time, haven't seen other things, don't worry, you're not missing anything. We'll give you a quick rundown. Players were Ravenous, plane shifted, now they're in Ravnica. That's where we're at. But I want to give everyone a little better follow up of what happened and where we left off. Garmore, or my buddy Matt, would you like to tell us where we left off last?
Oh, you're really pinning this on me again?
Well, you already wrote it up, so
Yeah, just give me a sec to pull it up.
I'm a team player like that. That's how I roll.
I think our cameras are a little bit off center here.
Yeah, they might be. You might have to turn it because I didn't actually look to see where you guys were at.
You are not playing Celesta.
I am not playing Celesta. I don't know why it says that. I changed the thing in it, so I don't. It says we're playing Celesta apparently. All right. Where can you guys? Yeah, can you make your own adjustments? Because I just want to get it going. With that, are you ready, Garmore?
Yes. Last time on Planeshifters. The makeshift government of Elturel began in earnest as Garmort the Druid worked with other healers to treat the sick and wounded as a disease spread throughout the city. Merle joined engineers and masons to build city walls out of the rubble. Zorax and Cecile established dialogue with the army that surrounds the city but had to comprehend each other's language first. As the third week started, planning for a meeting between the leaders of Ravnica and Elturel also began. And that is where we left off.
Yes. So we are just so everyone knows, our good buddy Austin will not be here today. He's got a family thing going on. But we'll be back in the next episode. Huh?
All day weekend then.
Yeah. So I would like to say that we are going. What? We are going to be moving ahead. As you mentioned, we left off with a week or so to go before the meetup with the Guild Masters of Ravnica, right? So in the meantime, our heroes have been doing whatever they can to shore up the city of Elturel and kind of get it into a functioning, working order. With this, there has been a little bit of concern with the meeting. Had we decided on a location for this meeting yet?
There was no decision on what the location was. I believe that was going to be decided in Zorax and Cecil's next meeting with Jara, captain of the battalion that surrounds the city.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I know we're meeting at noon a week from. Well, it's probably now like 6 days.
Yep.
From where we're at.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is we are going to move forward. I had more stuff planned, but with Zorax not coming, it's going to be just better to say these discussions happened, and unless Cecil wants to roleplay it out with me. But
we could give it a shot if you want to.
You can certainly try.
All right, yeah. So, for as the you come to the edge of Elturel, and you meet with the group from the Boros Legion again, and this time you are with You are not with Zorax. Zorax has locked himself into a room until he gets the last bit of the language mastered, right? He really wants it to be as perfect as possible for the upcoming meeting. So he has kind of locked himself in there while you continue the discussions. And one of the soldier that you've been speaking with, I gotta find his name really quick.
Jara, I believe.
Yep. Jara approaches and says, Cecil. So, as we spoke previously, we need to come to an understanding of a place of meeting for your leadership with the leaders of the guilds. Obviously, we would prefer that you had. Hang on a second here. So much of this. This is what happens when I don't have everything laid out immediately for where I'm going. Here we go. Okay. He says, for obvious reasons, the guilds believe that you should meet inside of the Azoria Senate. We will take you to the columns, and you will meet with our leadership there. Obviously, that is, we understand the risk and the concern you would have coming into potential enemy territory, but it is my duty to ensure that you and your leadership are escorted safely to the Sova column of the Senate. Is this an agreement we can come to?
I stroke my gray beard and take a puff of the pipe and then set it aside. And I go, it's hard to find a neutral ground in a place where a city has just landed on top of another.
Then you
I
understand our
understand.
predicament.
Now, if we go to talk with you there, will you have your leaders with you so that we can talk things out with leaders of the city and of your guild?
We will certainly have leadership present at the discussion. I have been told that some of our judges, and our supreme judge, Isperia, will be there. She believes that she is all that's really necessary, as it is part of her responsibility to deal with adjudicating and arbitrating the effects of law.
Good. I think we can make that work then. As long as it's all peaceful, that's what we want here.
He takes a deep breath. Well, you have to understand, the world of Ravnica is more complex than a single guild. There are many who are not happy with what has happened. And it is the Azoria Senate's responsibility to determine how this will unfold. But there are some who do not agree with the approaches that the Senate, specifically Isperia, is willing to take. Not at least until the meeting where you can share your situation in a public forum. So,
how many guilds will be there at this meeting?
I cannot tell you, as I do not know.
Okay.
But what I can tell you, it is our job, the Boris Legion. And when he says that, all of them behind shout, "Hurrah! Hurrah! Hurrah!" all at once. And it is our job to escort you safely.
Well, that's very encouraging.
Yes. So the question
I
is,
will.
we need to know the size of your leadership and your contingent, so we know how many soldiers will be necessary for the escort.
Right. Well, we have a couple more days. Well, almost a week still before we have to meet. So I think at this point I can relay this information to who's in charge on my side, and I'll let you know where we're at, how our leaders feel about the meeting place, and how many people we'll have.
All right. I will meet you back here in 2 days' time. In 2 days' time, I will return back here, and we will settle on the time frame and the location.
Okay.
Do you have any questions of me that I or of the Senate that I may relay?
I think I'm catching on to things pretty well.
All right.
Thank you, though.
As you were. And he salutes and then he turns around and walks away. Um, what what does Cecil immediately want to do? Do you want to immediately go back uh, to the shit? What is the name of that building you guys are in? The council.
Cathedral?
Yeah, the war chamber area. Do you want to immediately go back there?
Let me do. Can I like check around just to see who was listening in on the conversation?
Sure. Give me a perception check, please.
Okay. I am blind. All right.
I hear that.
5. Literally blind.
So you kind of poke around. There's some people kind of meandering, but you don't catch sight of anything out of the ordinary.
Okay.
With
All right.
that, oh, go ahead.
I'll head back then to the chambers.
All right. As you come back, you kind of got to wait there a little bit. There's Ray, shit, what's her name? Rhea?
Yeah.
Rhea is off in another discussion and won't be back for a few minutes. And you're basically, you kind of have to sit around and wait a little bit for the rest of them to arrive. What is it that Garmore is doing before the next scheduled council meeting?
Probably using his herbalism kit to create an antitoxin for the sewer plague.
Okay. So you've been actively continuing working on that. A messenger runs up and approaches you and says, "Master Garmore, I'm here to remind you that you have 30 minutes until the next council chambers meeting. Is there anything I can assist you with?"
No, I'll be there shortly.
All right, and then once you finish up your work, you begin heading out. What is Merle doing up to the next council meeting?
Oh no! I said move that mixture to that wall, not that. No. That wall. No, over there.
And you see these two guys are just like looking at each other like, "You're doing it wrong. No, you're doing it wrong. He says that way. That's where I'm going." And they're kind of fuddling back and forth, trying to lift, what is it, a boulder into place?
Budget.
A chair? Is that what he said?
Budget.
Yeah.
Idiots.
And a young messenger, probably in his late teens, runs up. "Excuse me, sir. Master Bronson, I'm here to remind you that your council meeting is scheduled in about 30 minutes. Is there anything I can do for you?"
First off, need you to knock some sense into these help, if you want to call them that. Generously.
He looks at them, and they're all much older than him. He says, "Yes, I don't think that I can do that, but I can toss them a couple pieces of copper. You know, give them my 2 cents."
Oh.
But
A bottle of whiskey. That'd be great too.
you know what? I think I can do that. And he kind of just scampers off and returns shortly with like a broken glass. It's got jagged, sharp stuff, and there's basically a cloth stuffed in the top to keep it from spilling out. He's like, "This is all I was able to find, sir. You know, after the attack and everything, we're running kind of low,
Just in case you need a Molotov cocktail.
right?" It's kind of what I was thinking of when he asked for one. Like somebody improvised this to design to be a weapon, but he's gonna drink it instead. He says, "Will this do, sir?"
Well, I suppose this can also double as in some. Why not?
And with that, you head off to the council. About an hour and a half later, Cecil, after you arrive, what is Cecil doing to keep himself entertained inside of this cathedral? And if you want, you can just give me a check, or you can say what your character would be doing.
I'm just smoking a pipe, watching people walk by, being very conscious of everybody that comes past me.
Give me an investigation check, please.
A 12.
All right, and I will keep that information and once again send it to you a little bit later. I will feed a little bit as you're kind of watching. You see several variety of people wandering by between messengers, young messengers who aren't skilled enough to do much else besides pass information. You're getting kind of used to them running from location to location nonstop. You can point them out pretty easily as they wear special bands on their arm to let people know that they're they're little white banners that show that they're not warriors or fighters or anything. The hope is that nobody will attack the messengers. And you also see several officers moving by. They're talking a little bit. Sometimes you can catch a hint of what they're discussing, other times you can't. You make some good observations based on some of the murals and stuff that are in the building as you are puffing on your pipe. At that moment, both Merle Bronson comes floating in on his little flying boots, and a little bit later comes Garmore and the rest of the council. You guys make your way upstairs to the war room, which is just basically a giant room that's got a table that they can use.
I do compliment Merle on his spiffy boots.
Thank you.
What? Did you just call him an idiot?
I said thank you.
Oh.
I thought he said heck yeah.
Oh, I thought you called you an idiot.
I swear that mic's gonna cause us so much communication issues.
That's funny. All right. With that, you guys kind of talks amongst yourselves while you wait for Rhea. This is your opportunity to kind of discuss what's been going on or any questions from that you have from the dungeon master.
Garmer's just going
Or each
over
other.
some notes that he put together regarding the antitoxin research.
Okay. Are you just reading
Rhea's title again?
that? She is currently well, she replaced the Duke. I think they're just calling her the Commander, actually.
Yeah.
Time being.
She doesn't she's got an honorary title because the Duke was swooped away.
Yeah.
So she just kind of said she's in control. And...
Well, actually, you missed that one. They actually voted for her to be in charge.
Oh, okay.
They were deciding if one of them should take charge, and she even recommended that, but they passed it back to her, so she kind of became a person of circumstance, right?
Okay.
But up until that, she had just been an adventurer with them. So while you're waiting, is there anything else? Obviously, you commented his boots. He's pretty kind of. He doesn't show it much, but you can see a tinge of kind of proud moment on him. Garmore's got his book stuck in, or his face stuck in some books, and he's taking notes and stuff. And you see that several people wandering by. You spot Osin, as well as the spy spy master.
Asanya.
Yeah, but she kind of kind of tucks herself away pretty quickly. Obviously, she might be here for this, but she's got other things on her mind at the moment. Um, and during this kind of commotion, you do hear some arguments kind of coming up. A big the bigger towering fella. Did I ever give you guys his name? Oh,
I don't think so.
Osiv.
Osiv, the big guy?
It's Osiv, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Osiv, the big guy.
So you spot Osiv, and he's kind of yelling and screaming at a couple other people not agreeing with the steps that they want, and he says that there's potentially war here, and we got to tread safely and all that. With that, Rhea kind of walks in, and there's something a little different about her. She went from kind of this kind of reserve person to a little bit more commanding presence. She's clearly getting a little more comfortable in being in charge than she was when you guys first were meeting with her. She says, "Everyone, all right, gather around. We have the next council meeting, and we got a lot to do, so we need to get our ducks in a row, so to speak." So with that, we have discussed a lot of the upcoming details and the interior work. What I want the focus of this meeting to be is our upcoming meeting with the natives, the Ravnicans. What is our plan? Zorax? Where is Zorax?
He's stepped away for a bit to study the language to get it down perfect.
He knows he needs to be at these meetings. Every one of my officers needs to be at these meetings. Remind me to give him a slap on the wrist. Anyways, so Cecil, I assume that you and shit, I forgot the guy's name you were with. M. Eminem.
Yes.
To my understanding, have you and M met with the?
We met with Jara,
Okay.
and they have a place for us to meet with them. It is outside of the city, in their territory, but they offered protection for us. So they will have a very important judge there, from the sounds of it, for us to talk to. But they do need to know how many people we are going to bring to the meeting, so that they know how many guards to have to take us.
So they want us to wander into their territory,
Well, from the sounds of it,
surrounded by their guards.
Technically, we're already in their territory.
That's an excellent point there, Merle.
that's true. And from the sounds of it, there could be other guilds in the city that want to meet with us. I know our spy masters found out a few of them. And I think it would be good for our city to show faith in them and go out and meet not just the Azori, but all the other guilds as well.
And how does everyone else feel about this? You start hearing a little bit of a few people arguing for it. Shows kindness and that we're not here to be hostile. The other people, Osin specifically says, "And walk right into their hands. Are you mad?" And do you guys, does Garmore or Merle have anything to speak up about in regards to this?
I'm never already there yet, jackwagon.
Okay. What about Garmore?
Would you prefer somewhere here, in a not suitable place of their ilk?
Could we not just meet at the edge of the gates? Obviously, we don't want to bring them into our council chambers and into our territory. I feel like we're gods. I think we're damned again. If visiting Avernus wasn't enough.
Or not being attacked by demons every 2 or 3 minutes, so I call it a win already.
Yes, I know, but you understand my concern. I don't know. We don't have enough information. Even with what our spies have uncovered, it's still a risk. We just don't know enough.
Well,
But go ahead.
meet in 2 days, which will give us about 4 days until the meeting. So I could suggest as neutral a spot as possible at the edge of the city, if that would make everybody feel better.
Personally, I'd rather go in their city just so we can see what the layout is and what's going on over there.
Osin jumps in. See, at least Merle's thinking tactically. The rest of y'all just want to strut in there, hand ourselves right over to the potential enemy.
They are not an enemy.
You don't know that.
Well, Osiv, if you
Neither do
go,
you.
I feel like we'll be just fine. I don't think anybody will want to mess with us if we bring a hulking orc giant into the city.
He looks at you, he says, do you really think that all of this will not be intimidating to them? They will start throwing pebbles and tomatoes at me instantly. They always have before. You kind of see his eyes kind of dart down in a moment, just a glimmer of uncertainty. Maybe a little bit of sadness.
Didn't mean it to make you feel bad, Osiv. I was saying it in the sense that nobody would mess with us if you were with us.
Clearly you don't know what it's like to be a half-breed then, huh? Foolish.
I've been on this world a long time, and I know what it's like to be treated poorly.
Ooh. Was that slip up intentional?
Can I make an insight
No.
check on that?
I have to debate. So, was that slip up intentional?
No, I've been here a long time, and I've been treated poorly. I've been in the world a long time and treated poorly.
You
I don't know
mean
what-
you mean
like-
Forgotten because you're not in Forgotten Realms.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you see where I'm going?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but like
Okay.
I'm not saying like I've been in Avernus. I'm
You're
saying
talking
like
about
I've been in.
you're old in general.
Yes,
so
I'm
you've been
old and I've
around
been
for a
alive.
long time.
Exactly.
Okay. So he's been around for a long time. So I am going to deny you any sort of insight check because that was just a matter of word scramble, I think, or word choice. He says, he looks at you with your big beard and your balded head, and he says, "You have no idea, but I understand. If you'll have me, it would be an honor to come with you. I would like to see this threat closer up. I mean, I would like to ensure our people's safety first and foremost." And then there's kind of this screaming and yelling that still goes back and forth. And then Rhea says, "Calm down. I understand both sides. This is certainly a challenge. I don't know what the best choice is. The Duke isn't here, so I have to judge my council's experience. As I told you before, that's why you're all here." She kind of looks at the room and locks eyes. We don't all agree on everything, but we do have one thing in common. We only want what is right for Elturel and its people. And that, I say, means putting our trust in people, putting our trust in others. If we're not willing to extend an olive branch, then who will? It seems to me that while we were under attack, that may have just been a defense mechanism, as we have not really been attacked. There's been a few squabbles here and there between our army and theirs, but for the most part, there hasn't been any issues. So I'm going to agree and say that meeting, let's see if they'll meet just outside of our city's gates. That would be safe for both, and if they're truly understanding, they might understand that. If not, and there's nothing else that we can do, I still might be willing to go to the Senate. But we will have to have a thorough backup plan in
I thought
case those that go don't come back.
it was just go straight to the Senate. They wanted to scorch out the face of the earth. They would have done it back when we first crashed here with no walls.
So, let
Let's
us
be real
take a
here.
vote.
Our thing's being held together by duct tape.
And you
I
hear
think actually things are being held together by the guts of bugs, which is worse.
Yes, she takes a big stiff, wipes her nose. I can smell it. She
Getting
says,
used to it.
see if they'll meet. Well, let's take a vote. And she calls for a vote. What is the position of the three of you, starting with Garmor? Go to the Azoria Senate or have them meet outside in a neutral location?
Meet outside at a neutral location, and he would add the fact that if we are lucky, they would provide tents to assert the meeting. So I vote for neutral ground.
All right. Give me a. When I get everyone's answer, I want everyone to roll me a persuasion check. Go ahead, Merle. What is your stance?
How about this to me after?
Meet at their Senate. What about Cecil?
How Merle described going to the Senate and seeing the city for what it truly is. So, I say we go to the Senate.
Okay, so I need each of you to give me persuasion checks, and that will determine the decision. So, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll for the crowd, and you guys will each roll, and the two highest rolls will determine the. Actually, why don't you guys just roll? I won't even add them into it. Just make persuasion rolls, and we'll go with the highest roll.
I rolled an 18.
I rolled a 4.
Nat 20.
No! There it is. And
I meant that forces on brand for Merle though.
right, he's like, yeah, I think we should just go inside. So Rhea turns
Merle brought
to
up duct tape earlier, and everybody went, "Oh, we're not listening to Merle." No.
duct tape and guts, right, you guys? She turns to Cecil as well as a couple of the other council. She says, well, you have convinced me. Cecil, you will take word to Jara and let him know that I'm willing to send some of my council members to the Azoria Senate to meet with this judge. What'd you say? Isperia is what you said, I believe.
I believe that's correct. Yes.
So, I do not believe I am willing to risk too many more people. Our council is thin as it is already. It's thin enough as it is already. She looks at.
A side note, aside from the council, do we ever get a head count of our current population, such as it is?
She says currently our city is down to about 2,000 in military force and about 7,000 citizens.
9,000 altogether.
Yep.
Good.
So, you will carry word to Jara of our decisions. I will need volunteers who are willing to step and wander directly into enemy territory. Do I have any volunteers?
Garmore stands up. I volunteer.
As tribute.
Don't you
I,
dare,
uh,
DM.
I slowly stand and say, well, I assume I'm going for the language.
Okay. Anybody else?
I'll do it. I can use a change of right after all this drudgery for the past few weeks.
Osiv, is it Osim or Osiv?
I don't. I'm
I have
confused as you are.
OSIV. OSIV is what I had down.
Yeah, I can't tell if it's a V or an N. Because my
I'm pretty
Then
sure
you
it's
know.
a D.
Okay, let's go with Osiv. So Osiv says, you have my axe. I will see this
Excellent.
done for you, Commander. And he looks and kind of nods to Cecil and kind of keep me informed. Send me a messenger when we're ready to head out. Does anybody have anything else that they want to discuss before we move on?
We
Now
need
is
to
the
know-
opportunity.
We need to know how many we're taking.
Also get an
How many-
update on the
An
will.
exact
Sounds like
number.
4.
4? Okay.
They get an update on the situation.
I see Prince of Garbage is giving me a hard time about not taking notes on a computer.
It's Austin, by the way.
Yeah, I know. So I don't know. When I'm on a computer, I feel like it's, even though I type really fast, it's just not as. I did have that open at one point though. So I'm sorry. Maybe I missed it because I was reading the chat. Was there any other discussions that need to be brought to my attention? Rhea says.
But do you need to give a slight update on the well situation?
On the what situation?
Well,
The well situation. Who was in charge of that? Was it any of you or somebody else?
no. I was in
Says-
charge of healing.
Yeah, because they're all plugged up, right? Because the bad guys were coming through them.
And I was.
They're poisoned.
And I was, along with myself and possibly other druids and clerics that were with us, were our, as you called it, vending machines for water.
Oh yeah, that's right. The vending machine says. So we have managed to gather several spellcasters that have been able to create small reservoirs of clean water. Unfortunately, this takes a lot out of them, especially with their magic not working exactly right. We have much to go. Fortunately, our talks with the Boros Legion has led to them offering some aid should our meeting go well. So I think that in the interim, what our druids and spellcasters have done will hold us for now, but it is definitely rough. We are low. There's hardly no food, so we need to get this deal done as quickly as possible. So with that, go, and she looks to Cecil and send a messenger. Let us meet with Jara, and if we can get the meeting moved up, that would be perfect. If we cannot, I understand. But we have a group of 4 that are willing to go and meet at the Azorius Senate. The other thing that we need to understand is, where has the Grand Duke been taken? If they are not hostile enemies, we should be able to find him. And they should have already found him. We ask that he be returned. Do you think you can handle this?
Yes, we can make that happen.
Her eyes kind of jump around the room, and she passes out a few other assignments to other people, and you can see them. Some of them are like, "Oh, not again," and some people are like, "I'll get it done." She turns and says to you 4, she says, "You 4 are my emissaries. Our future, the future of Elturel, rests on the decisions that you make once you are in the Senate. Even as soon as you leave the city, do you understand the importance of this?"
Yes.
Yes.
Osum just shrugs. He doesn't care. Osiv. He just kind of shrugs. Like,
We'll see.
whatever. Osiv, good, strong guy.
Got a very Nordic sounding name.
All right. I don't know. It was a generated name. Because that's what I do. I use generators because I ain't got time
It's
to
better
come up
than
with all that
Eminem,
shit.
not gonna lie.
Dude, that totally was a happy accident.
Hey, Em and I have become real good friends,
Yeah.
doing all the interpretation together.
Right.
So
All right, so you guys have got a plan. During the next couple days, you guys are dealing with your own areas. So I will need medicine check from Garmor, and I will need a. What kind of tools do you have as an
Artificer.
artificer? Yeah.
There's a list.
Do you, give me a tool check that you think's appropriate for designing and building. I know you've got a list.
Stinkers, thieves, woodcutters, cartographers.
Woodcarvers. Give me a woodcarvers check with intelligence.
Okay, that's going to be a math time.
Math time.
All right. A 3, and I might as well use Flash of Genius to make it a 20.
A 28. So you're able to give a few more lay out some good groundwork. You are running out of corpses to build the walls with and refortify them. You've done some good work. You managed to pass on some better tasks to those two people who you couldn't get to. Those two idiots you couldn't get to do what you wanted. Now you just have them moving items from part A to point B, giving them the really easy jobs. That's it. Simple. You get some good reinforcements. One of the other engineers, Fury, walks up and says, all right, well, you've done a really good job. You know that?
One has to.
Yeah. Let me tell you, I really didn't have a lot of confidence in you at first, but look at this wall, and she slaps on it and a pebble falls off. Well, for the most part, it's pretty strong. It'll keep out some enemies for now, I think. So I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I didn't have faith in you with all your little gizmos and stuff, but I'm proud of you, Bronson. I'm proud of you.
Oh, glad to have somebody turn around in their opinion. In my head, I'm thinking, who's again?
How about Garmor? Why don't you give me another medicine check?
I haven't told you my first check.
For the
medicine check that you told me to roll for initially.
yeah. Oh yeah. Did I already tell you to roll it for it? Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. I kind of want to add guidance to this.
Go ahead.
If that's all right.
That's what that's for.
Okay, that's a dirty 20.
Okay. So you've got you actually have a really good process you and some of the other druids have come up with. You've built this kind of hydroponics area. Not only is it building a dam and storing the water you guys collected, but it's also watering some of the new material that they're trying to grow with spells and magic to feed those that they can. It's a very intricate and complex design, and during this, is it Feli? Feli approaches you and says, well, I'm surprised how this came out. You know what I mean? You really did some good work here, Garmor, you know? Man, a few words. I like that. There should be more like you.
Is that all?
So it would seem. I just wanted to say you've been doing some good work. Honestly, I've been scared for everyone. I was worried we were going to all die from alien bugs and demons and devils, and it's nice just to get back to gardening a little bit, you know?
To them, we're technically the aliens.
That is really weird now that I think about it, ain't it? Okay, well, thanks for the great conversation. Keep up the good work. I'll make sure these people continue to follow through and do what you need. Just leave a list here before you head out, and I'll make sure it gets taken care of, okay?
All right.
Cecil, what is Cecil doing in this time?
I'm actually gonna go talk to Osiv and invite him to the next talk that we're gonna do,
Okay.
just so that he feels more comfortable with it, because I don't think he does yet.
So he, hang on a second. I got a thing here. Maybe. Can't fucking find shit anymore. Whatever. He kind of looks at you, and this close, as you approach, he goes, "What do you want, old one?"
I was just going to invite you to our next talk. I feel like you could be useful.
You feel like? Do you have any
I do.
idea the things that I've done? Of course I'm useful.
Well then, excellent. I would love to have you at the next talk.
Yeah, you would.
Well, I'm second guessing it a little bit, but I will gladly have you there. All right, goodbye. And I quickly leave before he says anything else that makes me regret it.
All right. Hey, he yells from the back, "Where are we meeting?"
I just point to the front gate and I go, where we always meet, right over there. 2 days.
He shouts, "I've never been there. How could I know you always meet there? I'll be there."
I give him a thumbs up and keep walking and out of earshot of him.
All right. With that, the couple days pass by pretty quickly.
DM.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask: is there a large tree nearby?
Large tree?
Yeah.
There's parts of trees everywhere. I don't know that you could find a really large tree. The place was in hell with demons lighting everything on fire. I would say define large. There are big trees around, but I wouldn't say anything more than 50 feet.
Category size wise, large.
Oh yeah.
Within.
For some reason, I was thinking like redwoods. I'm like, no.
Must have seen or touched the destination plant at least once before. Doesn't say if it has to be alive or not.
What are you trying to do?
In case of emergencies, preparing transport via plant spell. It's a teleportation spell for druids.
Oh, tree stride?
Not tree stride, transport via plants. 6th level spell.
Huh. And what is it? So what is it? Are you looking for a tree big enough for that? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Sure, there's one. You can find one.
All right. Okay.
As you wander around town looking for one, you end up finding one just outside of the graveyard area that you guys have reconverted into like your hydroponics area.
Yeah, I'm looking at the spell's description, and it doesn't say whether or not the tree has to be alive in order for it to work.
Well, there's plenty of dead trees and there's alive trees, so pick your poison. I would assume living would be preference, but
Yeah.
who knows? Druids are weird.
Yep.
It's like, yep. So what do? Cast that on that, and you can return to it at any point. Like, what does that even do?
As long as I must have seen or touched the destination plant, in which case the tree that I found. If I found another tree of similar size, like say at the Senate, and things go wrong because of things like Osiv lost his temper or something, we try to make leave, try to escape, we find a large tree enough.
Made like a tree and leaf. That's funny. That can't be a coincidence. They had to have planned that. Oh, that's funny.
But yeah, as long as I
Is that right? What's the cast time on that?
it is one action, and it lasts for one round. So,
That's not useful at all.
well, if we're all under the right timing, it could
What's the name of that spell? Teleport to what?
transport via plants. 6th level spell,
Oh, I thought it was Tree Strider. That's different.
Yeah, that's
not
a different
freeze
one.
stride.
Yeah.
So this says, this spell creates a magical link between you and an inanimate plant within range of another inanimate plant, so somebody doesn't turn into a tree and then use them. Has to be on the same plane of existence that you have seen or touched the destination. For the duration, any creature can step into the plant and exit from the destination plant. So
Like
you
everyone can
said,
hold their
okay,
everyone can hold their dash actions as I cast the spell, and then
yep,
we could just go right through.
in one turn. I got it. Okay, that's pretty neat. That is pretty cool. That is
Used
unique to
multiple
druids.
times by Vox Machina.
Yeah.
If
All right.
there's a tree there.
True.
All right, so yes, you find one in the hydroponics area. You know it's there, so you go there and you channel some energy into it. You draw like some leafy sigils into it, and it doesn't burn into it, but it leaves kind of like a raised sigil on the tree.
Mhm.
Anything else, anybody? Or
Yeah. Before we advance time, I would like to scout ahead a little bit.
okay, go ahead and give me an investigation check.
When I say scout ahead, I mean outside of the city, even.
Okay.
What?
All right. Is there anything in particular you're looking for, or is this something I'm keeping on the DL?
This is. I guess this kind of plays into me just figuring out what guilds are going to be there and
Okay.
making sure nothing unexpected happens.
Fair enough. Okay, go ahead and give me. I'm gonna say you're gonna have to give me 3 checks. You're gonna have to give
Okay.
me a perception check, an investigation check, and an insight check.
All right.
All right. What is the perception check?
The perception's an 11.
Okay. What is the investigation
Investigation's a 15.
and the insight?
Insight's a 10.
All right. So, as you're poking around outside, over the next day or so, you're constantly on watch. Several of the guards come and go, and you've been paying a lot of attention to the Boros guards, and you've learned a few different things. Let me pull this up really quick. Something that really stood out to you is that some of the guards that had, some of the Boros Legion guards that had come up behave a little oddly. So you stalked around and made some observations, and you noticed that a few of them were not actually Boros Legions members. Instead, you were able to kind of catch a glimpse of them conversing in private, and you overheard something about Orzhov, the Orzhov Syndicate, and you believe a few of these to be with them. Now, you, Will,
Yeah.
and you, Cecil, you know that based on your investigations that the syndicate is an organized crime syndicate, and they have somehow managed to sneak some of their soldiers into Boros. You're not sure how many. You only managed to spot a couple in the couple days leading up to the discussions with Jara. So, the real question is whether you want to share that information with those around you.
Right.
So what? Choices,
I still got
choices.
a day to think about it here. So I'm gonna head back to the city
Okay.
and I will send a message.
Okay.
Okay.
Via one of your contacts.
Yeah.
All right. What is the message you are sending, or are we keeping that?
I'm gonna send you a separate message.
Oh, okay. Right through Facebook.
Yep.
Okay, and I'll keep that for myself then.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So while he's doing that, I'm going to Facebook. Um, du-du-du. With that, the day comes up pretty quickly for the meeting, and you guys meet outside the hydroponics area where Garmore is standing in front of a massive tree with a protrusion sticking out of it. Osif thumps up. All right, where do we go?
What are you talking about?
Aren't we supposed to go somewhere? We're supposed to be meeting with one of the leaders of the Boros Legion, if I'm not mistaken.
Not here.
Aren't you going?
Yes.
Okay.
I
Then
feel
let
like
us
that this
go.
All right.
You think like what?
I think there's a confusion between us, DM.
What's that?
The pertinence of the transport spell.
I have it open. It says
Oh.
this spell creates a magical link between a large or larger inanimate plant within range. This says 10 feet. And another plant at any distance on the same plane of existence. You must have seen or touched the destination plane, which is where you're at now, right?
Yeah.
At least once. For the duration, any creature that steps into the target plant, which would be your escape plant somewhere in the city, then exit out from the destination one. What don't I understand?
I don't know.
Is that what it? That's what it does. That's what it sounds like, right?
Well, for the two trees in question for the spell, I have to have made contact with both trees.
Right. And I'm basically flavored your touching of this tree as you've made contact with this tree. So now when you
Okay.
go touch another one, I'll say you've got the same magic symbol, and then they'll glow, and poof, they're connected. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah.
I got you.
All right.
Don't worry, baby bird. I'll feed you.
Don't call me that.
Okay, excuse me, little worm. I'll feed you.
I would say baby bird at this point.
Right? Well, you only go down with the complaints. You only go down. You don't go up. All right. So, but thank you for asking for clarification. That's important. We don't want anything to not function based on a communication error. I like that. I like that.
I do not like the sound of that.
All right. So, with that, the day rolls up. You guys, Garmore runs into Osiv as he's heading towards the front. You guys kind of all meet just outside. Osiv says, "All right. Before we head outside the gate, is there anything should we prepare our speech ahead of time or discuss anything? What is the plan?"
I have a spell that can help us escape, but I'll need a large tree in order for it to work, in case things go wrong.
He looks up over top of the city walls at the massive city, and he says, "I don't see no trees." Basically, the area you landed in is a massive, like, metropolitan area. Um, he says there might be a few that people keep as houseplants, but who knows? I don't know. We don't know where this Senate is, so maybe there's trees there. I
I
guess we'll
just
see.
kind of pat him on the shoulder and tell him, just pay attention on our walk.
I can do
Just to,
that.
like, see trees.
I will keep an eye out.
You're
I
the
can do
perfect
this.
man for it.
That's
So
true.
is
I
this
am
the-
tall.
So is this the day of the Senate meet?
It is. You guys are no.
Okay.
This is a day of discussing where the meeting is going to take place before they escort you. Because originally it
Meeting for the
was.
meeting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dude, that explains my work perfectly. We have meetings about meetings for later. It's ridiculous.
At dawn,
Welcome
we
to
plan.
politics.
So he says, all right, well, I think that's him, and he's pointing, and Jura's kind of walking. He's a couple hundred paces away. To my understanding, we're going to the Senate. So when we do this, I think us as a group need to keep track and make as many observations as possible. Anything that's outstanding, anything that can be used against them, anything that we can use to protect ourselves, anything we can use to learn more about them. Do you guys agree with that?
Absolutely.
Self-defense as a last resort, but okay.
I do like that you have come with an escape plan, Garmor. That is very clever. Hopefully we will not need to use it. But it does seem cowardly to run away from a fight. Then again,
Better to live than die on the spot.
I'm strong, but I can't fight an army. What
Then
about
why
you,
fight on the-
Merle?
Here, what happens, happens.
I understand. All right, with that, you guys begin marching towards the end of the property or the end of the area, and you can see all the soldiers in kind of procession following behind him. He's no longer by himself. He has two other people with him, and as he approaches, he says, "Hail! It's good to see you again. Have you decided to accept our offer?"
Welcome, Jara. We will meet you at the Azarius court. And this is who we're bringing. I kind of motioned to everybody in our 4-person group there.
Osiv tries to smile, but his orcish demeanor makes it look like just kind of a snarl instead of a smile. He kind of just he does a smile, but it's more of a snarl. And you see one of the two figures. They kind of look at each other, and they're wearing these nice little white and gold robes. They kind of look at each other. They look back at Jara. They look back at him, and then Osiv just raises his hands and waves, and then smirks, smiles / snarls at them. You know, with these big giant
Sticking out.
his big old tusks. Well met. Jara says, "These are the law mages. They will be part of the group that escorts you to the Senate should you accept our agreement."
I would like to take a very close look at all of them.
Go ahead and give me a perception check.
Can I do the same?
Sure.
Oh my.
Ooh.
I got a 17.
25.
Whew. Merle?
That roll.
Okay. I was just checking. So you can see that they carry themselves really well. You can see all kinds of runes and stuff on them. If you're proficient in Arcana, you can give me a check. Cecil, based on your information, you recognize them as law mages of the Azorius Senate. They use their powerful spells of enchantment uh, to uh, to protect and to interrogate some people, to protect others, either from themselves or things that they've witnessed. The most common thing is memory, such as Men in Black style flashers, right? You
Right.
did not
Modified
remember
memory?
this. I didn't say that. I just said that they make it so they don't remember stuff. But something to consider. As a player, modified memory is definitely something that could be in their arsenal. So, and then Matt, you noticed some interesting um, things about them as they're kind of sitting there. You can't tell because of their white hoods over pulled over, but one of them, as you're kind of poking around, you actually notice that they don't look purely human. You see that one of the arms sticking out of its robe is got like almost like a panther claw or something, while the other one is a normal human hand. As she kind of nudges her head to the side, you catch, very slight tinge of her nose being pushed up and whiskers, very much a lion type character. Not exactly something you've seen before, and as you look closer and closer, you can tell that their legs are a little bit different form. Underneath her robes, kind of backwards, much more like a pouncing cat. But she does they all keep their faces pretty well covered, very much in the Star Wars style of Jedi when they got their hoods all pulled all the way up. You know what I mean? You can get glimpses
Yeah.
of them, but you can't really see exactly everything. Otherwise, Anakin would not have made it that far.
All right.
So I await your answer. Shall we escort you to the Azorius Senate?
That will go.
Does he mean right now?
No.
Okay. Then yes, in due time.
How many will we be escorting?
These 4.
A look of surprise just pops on his head. He's just like, surely you mean 400.
Oh,
Why would you think 400?
The two people with him and Jara kind of look back and forth, and you can see they're all visibly startled. He's like, you're going to walk without soldiers into potential enemy territory. That is a terrible tactical decision. Not that we're enemies.
Good, because we
Okay.
don't see you as enemies.
I see. Well, this will certainly be easier.
From my understanding, you said you would help protect us.
Yes, we did.
I have faith
All right.
in you.
He kind of gets a little smile, and you can see almost a little bit of relief out of them. Clearly there was some tension that they had built up that you weren't really aware of until it was kind of released. Go ahead and give me insight checks, please, everyone.
Okay.
18.
What'd you say? 18 or 15?
18.
Okay.
17.
17.
All right. So, all of you, as you guys are kind of observing kind of what's going on, once again, you see the bit of tension has been released. Clearly, judging from the way they move, and they were kind of unsettled that they were about to bring a potential small army directly into their city. And they were actually more concerned about that than anything else. And you're kind of, it's basically your interpretation of their movements and their uncomfortable, mannerisms, as if you just lifted a boulder off of their shoulders. And he says, well, we weren't expecting that. I will take this news to my commanders, and we will arrive in a fortnight to escort you.
Let's be real here. Having 4 people show up to 400 makes the delegation go a little bit faster.
Yes, I agree, but that's... Yes, I agree. And I
And
will report this.
before you go, you wouldn't have by chance found Duke that does not belong to this realm, would you?
He takes a deep breath and he says, "A moment." He waves over another soldier, and you see this very scrawny. Think Captain America before he's Captain America. His helmet's all joggling around as he's running up. He's got the missive. And he says, "Sir," he hits it, and his helmet kind of rocks back and forth. He hands it. "The one that you seek is currently on the run. We have been unable to capture him.
Capture.
Well, he's attacked several guards and is now being chased by the Boros Legion. We have sent several people to search him out. He came quite literally crashing through a noblewoman's home. And while he did not harm anyone, at the first sight of soldiers, he engaged in battle. And we have been chasing him ever since. We do not currently know his whereabouts, but we believe... Hang on a second here. I want to make sure I get the precinct right. For those that don't know, Ravnica is divided into giant precincts, which are kind of like territories.
We do not know that.
Well, I was saying for everyone that doesn't know, but you as the players now know that, but your characters don't. But that's mostly for the audience. And so I want to make sure I get it right because
Upon hearing
it makes a difference.
upon hearing his circumstances, Garmer just lets out a large sigh with a face palm, hearing the Grand Duke's circumstances. Oh, this is good.
Laugh at Dylan's completely in character, by the way.
What did Merle do?
Laugh when the general discovering what the Duke was doing.
Okay, so according Jara looks up and he pulls out the chart here and he says, to our knowledge, he is currently... Yep, I got it right. He is made his way, last seen in the Transguild Promenade in Precinct 4. Which, gonna be honest, is not great. Of all the areas of Ravnica, that is probably the worst place for him to be. That is the home of the Grohl clans. And much of Precinct 4 is a war zone, I'm gonna be honest.
The Duke will be at home there.
Great.
Yes.
This is a problem for us because he is a Grand Duke for us, and he was whisked away by a horrible flying creature that attacked us the night of our arrival here.
Yes, the Golgara. We are sorry about that. They're quite defensive creatures, and crashing on top of one of their underworld nests probably didn't do you any favors.
I was afraid of that.
Yeah, we are in negotiations with their guild master, but we've been able to hold them off for now. But this is one of the reasons why you must come to the Azoria Senate, so that everything can be cleared up and all of Ravnica knows the reason for you being here.
Yeah, probably might want to hold off on what we do.
What's that? What did you say, Merle?
I can't mutter to him. I can't mutter out loud. Oh, we better hold off on what we did to their taxes.
Yeah.
He says, but
What we
the
did with their
the worst thing is the nature of where he's at will not do us any favors in regards to the way he thinks of the people of Ravnica.
Worse yet, he doesn't know your language.
Yes, that's a challenge. With that, we are searching for him. To my knowledge, according to this letter, everyone is on the lookout. But without appropriate communications and understanding, we have quite the task upon us. Likely, we will have to send yourselves to locate him at some point. That would likely be the best solution, I think. But that's not for me. I'm just here to get you to the Senate. So,
Understood.
if there's nothing else you need, we will be on our way.
You've been very helpful.
He kind of salutes, and then as he salutes, he kind of a smile appears on his face as he watches the little soldier with the flappy helmet kind of waddle away.
Does it spin? Is it like one of those circular hats?
No, it's just a big metal plate armor, but he's so scrawny, it just kind of is too big for his head.
I'm
Alright.
sure I can hear Osif behind me just go.
He's doing exactly that. With that, he breaks away. And do you guys have any discussion before we move on?
We have to inform
Um,
Ray about this regarding
yeah.
the Grand Duke.
Should we send out a different group to try to find him?
That sounds like that's going to be a bad idea because then we have some of our guys driven on that one factor's territory. We know jack squat about them.
Another option is that we could send Spy Master Vasanya to try and locate him specifically.
He'd have to blend in with the people. And
Sure enough.
we don't have a lot of details on that.
I mean, there is a spell, but it's mighty expensive for me to use as a catalyst.
Spell, you say? Which is that, Garmol?
It is called scrying. It
Ah,
requires a material component that's worth at least 1,000 gold pieces. One example would be a crystal ball, a silver mirror, or a font filled with holy water.
perhaps once we meet with the Azorius Senate and come to an understanding, they may be able to provide the necessary components for your spell?
Possibly.
It's a lot to ask.
Well, it's a lot to ask to help us get home, and I believe that's the start. Well, do you guys got anything else?
I think we just have to go talk to.
I want to make. If you don't mind me trying to track him down by my lonesome, I got like a ultra self and no, not disguise self is invisibility. Like I can't bug out if I don't have to.
That seems like not.
Bad idea? Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that sounds horrible. I don't think you should do that. We're already on the bound. Let's come to an agreement first with Azorius, and then we will plead with them to allow us to wander the city to find, or cities. I haven't quite don't understand it. It's a city as far as I can see, but yeah, I think that we should come to an agreement first, and then appeal to them to allow us to search for our leader, the Grand Duke.
Agreed.
Not that Rhea's not doing a fine job, but She said it herself. She doesn't have the experience, and she's relying on us. So.
Hey, Justin, just for
It
some
makes me amazed we're still alive.
Go ahead.
So like you mentioned the Boros Legion and Azorius. So is it Boros Legion and Azorius working together, or
Are
are
you
they
asking
separate?
as a player, or is this something your character?
Out of character.
So there is, if the Azorius Senate is Ravnica's lawmakers, the
Legislators.
legislators, the Boris Legion is the policing force or the military.
Okay. All right. Because I was kind
So
of getting confused.
yeah, they're
a little
separate
bit on it.
guilds, and they've got
Yeah.
each guild has its own role, and that happens to be the Boros is the soldiers basically, and the
Okay.
Azorius are the legislators.
Law
Perfect.
enforcement
Thank you.
militia.
Yes. Now that doesn't mean that both sides don't have a bit of each. And for instance, the lawmakers that came were actually Azorius. They are not Boros, and there's less of them in that regard for that position. But that's their job, is to help keep the peace in a different way than the soldiers do, right?
Right.
Not necessarily a well-received way either.
Well, no, that was perfect. That's what I needed. Because I was like, I was making sure that like I wasn't mishearing something.
Nope, you're right. And I also get confused sometimes, so we want to make sure that's all out there. Yeah.
All right. Perfect.
Yeah, so it's definitely, like I said, this is definitely a more confusing style game than I normally run, because there's so many threads woven into this pattern. Ha! Wheel of Time reference. Trailer teaser is out, by the way. If you haven't seen it, it looks awesome. I'm so excited.
I've seen it, but I've not read the books, unfortunately.
I just started. I'm on the second one right now, and it's great. Though the first one kind of started out kind of slow. Nobody can make a decision, but it's gotten really good. Anyway,
That was the case for the season.
God, I hope they. There are some stuff that happens in the first book, like right away, that's very interesting, but just the character development to me started real. Sorry, I'm derailing. But I love the first book and I love the second one. They're great, and I can't wait to read all 14 or 15 or however many there are.
There's
So with that, then I got to word on to Discworld, I guess, after that. Anyway, so you guys managed to are wandering as you guys are making your way through the city of Elturel. You can see all the work that's been done. Sure, it's cobbled together. Sure, it looks like junk by the way standards of what it used to look like, but it's actually quite impressive what you guys have managed to do in a little over 2 weeks. The smell is not great because you have no flowing water, as plus all your walls and stuff are reassembled with the guts of the city's people. So it doesn't exactly smell very fresh here, but you're still able to kind of take a bit of pride as you walk. And as you're walking, Orsiv runs his finger across the wall and then licks it. You know, this stuff reminds me of a dessert my mother used to make. She never told me what was in it. He slaps his lips together, but reminds me of home in the mountains. I'll tell you what. And he just starts beginning to tell you stories of growing up and how he became a man and having to battle an owl bear by hand and wrestle it, and becoming passing his special test and everything. And he's just rambling the entire time, going from this.
Take the story of the owl bear.
Sure, go ahead.
28.
Woo! You look at him and he's really into it, and his eyes kind of catch you and can kind of see the look of doubt in your face. And he says, "Ha! I've met your kind before." And then he starts pulling up his shirt and says, "Scar." And then he says the year, "Owl bear." And then he moves to another one. He just starts showing off all of his scars from his wars and battles. He says, "Where I come from, greatness is determined by strength. Judging from you, it's whoever can plant better." You got nothing?
Yes. Garmor is just unfazed.
But he genuinely tells the story with the excitement of someone who genuinely believes exactly what he's telling you. Whether it's as big as he says it was, or is rough and dangerous as he says it was, you're kind of skeptical because you know that people embellish, right? He talks
Yeah,
about
especially when
being
it
the
comes to a freaking owl bear.
yeah. So for all you know, it could be an owlbear cub, but he seems to think it was just the biggest owlbear as he just kind of goes into it. It's like, yeah,
Owl bear with a growth spurt.
right. And he starts talking more and he delves more into a story. Do you guys share anything about your guys' past to kind of go off of that?
I just kind of look at him and say, so you could take a hit from an old monk then, huh?
He looks at you, looks up at his muscles, says, well, that depends. There was this one time a man touched me,
Garmor's already gone, by the way.
and the biggest burst of lightning erupted from his punch. Osiv did not get back up after that. So, am I strong? Yes. Am I invincible? I like to think so, but I know better. And he looks down at you. But I'd be willing to spar with you if you're willing to give it a go.
Well, I wasn't really talking a spar, more just a punch for punch. See who could, stand their ground the best.
What are we wagering? And this is continuing as you are watching. Garmor kind of took off. Is Merle taking any interest, or what is Merle doing during this time?
Let's see. I've seen monks in action. You know what?
Yeah.
Merle's watch on the citizenry. It's just a betting pool.
Sets up a betting pool.
So with a watch? Yeah. What are you willing to wager? That's a mighty nice watch. What about you, Merle? What do you got? Or not Merle? Sorry, Cecil.
Cecil?
What are you willing to wager?
I just like something to pass the time, that's all.
Well, you gotta wager something.
I'm not a very rich man, I'll be honest.
All right. Well, I got. Okay. How about this then? Merle's throwing in a watch. He reaches into his back and he's got a satchel there, and he pulls out. Remember that owl bear I told you about? And he shows a big giant a necklace with a massive claw. Yeah, here it is. I'm told that this possesses a bit of magic. I just kept it as a souvenir, proof of my conquering. I'll wager that if you consider it a fair wager, Merle.
See your bet.
This is.
Merle's betting on me.
Yeah, who do you think's gonna win?
Oh, my general experience is this world. The reason why somebody's usually old at this point. Quite a lot.
Must be strong. Okay. So what is does Cecil have anything to wager?
Nothing of great value. I have a dagger that I could wager.
What does this dagger look like? Whatever you want.
Okay. I mean, it's a fairly simple but curved dagger.
Is it made out of any special material like bone or wood from an oak tree, a special tree or something? You can flavor this as much as you want. Tie it to your backstory if you want in any way.
All right.
A real backstory.
Yeah. Small curved blade with a black leather handle, and it looks like it's probably better fit for my hand than his.
He grabs it. He says, "This is nice," and he puts it on one finger, very much like Thanos in the movie. He says, "This is a balanced blade. I can appreciate that." and the blade is like tiny compared to his big old orcish fingers. He says, "All right, I'm down, but first let's report to Rhea. Maybe we can give the boys some entertainment tonight. What do you think?"
Let's establish rules first. Is it one punch? Best punch?
I say, back in my orc village, we have a game where we set up a small diameter ring, and first person forced out of said ring yields.
Well, then it's a test of weight somewhat. But I think I can make that work.
Well, all right then. We'll make it a contest. First person out of the ring.
The old man versus the giant. What a show.
He flexes and his shirt rips. He's like, "You're in trouble." He just flexes. He's like, "It's been a while. I haven't done this game since I was a kid."
For a while.
All right, so you guys make it back to the war room.
Oh, Garmore's
And-
already gone.
Okay, so you guys get there, and Garmore is just... What is Garmore doing passing the time while he waits for everyone else to get there?
Just checking back his notes. Hoping to leave some. Trying to see, if there are any breakthroughs in the research of the antitoxin.
So as you're looking through these things, give me a medicine check.
Woohoo! I have advantage because of the talent I took,
Mm-hmm.
and I can use guidance on myself too. Okay, that's good. Let's see. Medicine, you said?
Mm-hmm.
26.
So you realize that one of the mixtures you've been using is having an inert effect compared to some of your other samples. And you realize it's the addition of a particular element. You believe that if you use the opposing a material with a more aesthetic levels than that one, you might be able to get the exact what you need. So you scribble down your little notes there with a big giant circle over it because you think you might have figured it out. To be able to, you just have to have the material gathered. I don't know what the material is. I'm not a scientist, so we're just gonna leave it vague enough. Hope everyone's cool with that.
Yeah.
And at that point, you guys walk. As you're sitting there, the rest of the team walks in, and you can see the most gnarly snarl on Osif's face, and his shirt's all like ripped, and you can see his big muscles underneath as he's walking in. And it takes you a second, but you realize he's not snarling; he's smiling.
I'm walking by any passerby I see. Thing between and Osif.
I'm sorry, what?
Ah.
What's that? What's going on between Osif and Cecil?
Excellent man.
Wrestling? Are you kidding me? Oh man, we haven't had any entertainment in here since we were dragged into hell.
So we got
All right. And the guy turns and doesn't miss a beat and just shouts, "Everybody, wrestling match! Woo!" And he starts cheering, and everyone stops dead in their tracks. It takes them a second to kind of gather their stuff, and they just all start hooting and hearing. And then all half the
DM.
What?
It's good time.
It's good time! So, for those of you who don't know, when we were doing the Dragon Heist campaign, the orcs had a special event, much like this, which I based it off of, called Good Time. And so it became a running joke of, is it good time? Good time! And so, yeah. And in fact, Ian made a phenomenal meme that I would love, if you can dig that up, dude, You need to post that again. It was great.
Yeah, you need to post that in the Facebook page.
Yeah, it was awesome. Anyways,
Definitely
so
we can plus against I can do it. So,
you
yeah.
start hearing dozens of people shouting "good time" all over and over and over, and then you see Osiv over there with his axe. Good time, good time. And then Rhea walks in. Really, everyone? We're in a situation for our lives, and you're ready to take time out of your busy day to have a little good time?
Cecil
Really?
shoots a little smoke ring at her and goes, "It's a little good time."
She takes a deep
Whether
breath
that's or not.
and she lets out a sigh of exasperation.
Play some bets or not.
The distraction could help. Who's taking bets?
I am.
So she
Okay.
runs over. She says, "I haven't seen Cecil in action, but he wouldn't have challenged him if he didn't have something. So I want to toss a little wager in, and all the stuff starts coming in, but none of it's gold coins. It's all people wagering like chunks of food and apples and a bit of bottles of water, and basically precious resources is now becoming kind of the gambling ante, right?
Before, as this is happening, I try to quietly pull Rhea aside and inform her of what we discovered at the latest meeting regarding the Grand Duke.
She kind of gets pulled out of her thing for a second. She's like, "All right, everyone, settle down. We do got to still do business, but tonight, good time." And so she gathers the council. She has everyone, calming down. She says, "All right, I just got some important information from our team. Garmor, would you share with everyone, with the council, what you've discovered?"
Well, during our meetings with Captain Jorah of the Boros Legion, we inquired about someone matching the Grand Duke Ravenguard's description, and they did have a report. There is apparently an arrest warrant for assault with city guards, with someone matching the Grand Duke's description. Good news is he's alive, he's on the run, not arrested. But the bad news is that he is in a precinct that is run by the Gruul clans, the barbarians of the city.
I see. That is certainly that is something certainly to be concerned about.
Now, after our meeting with Captain Jara and two of the law mages of the Boros Legion or the Azuria Senate, myself and members of the ambassador team or emissary team, we've concluded that we could potentially appeal to the Senate to request us entry into the general location where the Grand Duke was last seen and try to retrieve him and get him back to this city as quickly and quietly as possible. This is not what I was expecting.
I'm trying to find the spy master's name. So
Visanya?
Visanya. Yep, there it is. I'm gonna fix that a little bit.
We would intend to the appeal because, as far as we know, Cecile over here, who is a member of our emissary group, is most fluent with the language of Ravnica, as well as Zorax. Is he still not? No, for the love of.
Zorax. So Zorax is missing still. She says,
Yeah.
no, he is still locked himself in the library. He is making good progress. He believes he should be able to have the full language cracked with no errors or lapse in judgment soon, but I don't know if he'll have it before you head to the Senate. He may have to miss out on that opportunity. Unfortunately,
Right.
it's a risk we're going to have to take for now, but he is making good headway. Cecil seems to be doing quite well on his own. We haven't had any issues yet, so we'll continue to rely on him for now. But between Cecil and M, I think we'll be okay.
All right.
The spy master, Visonia, steps up.
They called it the Trans Guild Promenade in Precinct 4. They
Yes.
mentioned that that location is Gruul clan territory.
So Visanya steps up and she says, I have some quite large concerns from that. So, according to my spies, the area, a large area inside of what is known as Precinct 4 has beginning to smell heavily of some sort of sulfur-like smell for several days now, and they've reported that many are starting to get sick. And unfortunately, the soldiers in the area aren't really taking it seriously, which we can't blame them because, you know, there's so much war and stuff going on there. A bad smell is not really the top of the priority. If this is some
Sulfur?
sort,
Are you insane?
what?
Sulfur? Are you insane?
All I'm saying is that it could be very dangerous for the Grand Duke there, not from a blade, but something else. So, while I understand that he is not our immediate focus, I do recommend this council choose to seek him out after we meet with the Azorius Senate. Maybe even inquire to whether they're willing to enlist aid. We can enlist their aid.
True.
All right, that is all that we have to report on regarding the Grand Duke and the meeting with the Azorius Senate. Also, there was a confusion in the dialogue, Cecil, in regards to numbers of attendees.
Oh, that's true. The Azores were under the assumption that we were taking an army to protect ourselves into the city. And they were relieved, honestly, to learn it was just 4 people.
Yes. Rhea steps forward and says, Ian found the meme. Can you share that meme in the chat with people? I don't know if that
I'm
works.
trying. It's kind of a pain to do in Twitch.
Say then maybe
Can't
post
do
it
that
on
on
the.
Facebook either.
Oh, that sucks.
Can't do that on Facebook either. The show video, which is dumb, but hey.
Just post it
Try to
on the
use
Crit
the-
Nation page and then share the link to the Crit Nation link.
I'm trying.
So Rhea steps forward and she says, yes, that definitely is kind of what I expected. We know what we're doing is tactically not sound, but we really have no other options. It's better to lose 4 people to a backstab than hundreds of soldiers that would be needed to protect the city if we're wrong.
Besides, the soldiers are more needed here.
Yes, I agree. And Osiv flexes his muscles and says, Osiv's got this. I feel like he should talk in the third person. um, so, with that, then, um, we will be. It's a fortnight away. In that time, we'll try to gather as much information as we can. I know the spy master is hard at work, and she kind of nudges down like that and acknowledges it. And we'll continue to gather information. Um, but I don't know that there's anything we can do about the Duke until after we've dealt with the Senate. I honestly believe that if we try to send out an expedition for him, it'll be misconstrued as some sort of attack or threat to them, and we cannot afford that. Not our first goal is to protect our citizens, and I think the Duke would approve of that. He's a strong person and can fend for himself, even if he can't communicate well with those around him or at all. So, does the council have anything else to bring forward? With that, a member walks up and this is a person you've kind of seen but haven't actually engaged with a lot. A very slender man, very tall and lanky, very quiet, kind of gaunt. He steps forward and says that I do have I do have one concern, Commander. And she says, what is it, Baron? Well, there have been visitors into our city who have been reaching out to a few of us with unique offers. And I don't know how they managed to get past our walls and our soldiers. I don't know how they've managed to just wander in carefree without nobody noticing. But I was approached from somebody from the Selesnya Conclave. In secret, of course. They, according to the agent that I spoke with, they want to help ensure peace. They spread word that not all the guilds in the area of Ravnica or on Ravnica are as safe as others, and they gave warning to a few. But I'm not sure how much we can trust this information. As quickly as they appeared, they have disappeared from those that I have been in contact with. If it wasn't for my magic circles, we probably would have never detected that they were here. So I have some concerns that there are some infiltrating our city and doing business outside of this council. And I have some concerns. And
I'm starting to as well. I look to the spy master and ask, didn't you say that the Selesnya Conclave is a group of druids?
Yes, that is correct. As far as I can tell, they're relatively peacekeeping. But we all know, and she glances over at Cecil, not all is what it appears. I just thought that this information should be brought to your attention. They have not shown any hostilities, but if we are unable to detect them, who knows what else they're influencing. So I am working with my spellcasters to devise some new incantations that hopefully will allow us to identify when they enter the city. At the very least, a certain area of the city, specifically this council. As I said, we don't know who and who we cannot trust. And I don't know that people sneaking into our city to do business under the cover of darkness is a great start.
Should we address this to the Senate in that case?
I will leave that to this council and to Rhea's decision. All we do is collect information in regards to the arcane arts. I am not a politician. This is just something that we stumbled across. It could be nothing, it could be something. I have already spoken with this to Visonia, and she is aware, and we are seeking to come up with a way to defend ourselves against whatever magics they've used to infiltrate us. Because if they have, who's to say others haven't? Visanya steps forward and says, I agree with Archmage Baron. This is certainly something that needs to be dealt with great care, for we do not want to choose sides or alliances in a situation where there are many and we don't know their intentions. Does the council have anything else to add to this? And Rhea instantly looks to you guys for an insight.
At this time, I definitely want to investigate that sulfur smell.
I'm concerned for the Grand Duke being there. Sulfur is not a pleasant environment to reside in. Trust me.
All right.
But then I'm rather curious about the druids. If I could potentially meet with them before our meeting with the Senate, it would help us gain some clarity. I'm not saying that we're to trust them. I'm just saying to hear them out.
You fool. That's the whole point of this. Baron kind of stands up and he kind of eyes you. He's like, don't you understand? They could have warned us in any number of other more open means. But they chose to do it in secret. Why do you think that is?
Perhaps others are spying on them as much as they are us.
Well, they could certainly found of less conspicuous. I don't think that's the right word I'm thinking of. They could have found a better way to approach us. I do not approve of this method. It is very back alley, and it reminds me of thieving guilds.
It does seem suspicious.
We will deal with this at a later time, Rhea says. I have to think on this and come up. I will meet with each of you individually who have met with these visitors from the conclave. And we'll see if there's how much of the information is consistent and if there's any holes in their stories. In the meantime, we have work to do with the Senate. So, now that we've got all the business out of the way, spread the word. Tonight we all have a good time.
Ah,
Oh, did we lose Will?
Can you hear me still?
It's choppy. You might have to disconnect and reconnect. Your screen's frozen.
Yeah, I see that.
So with that, once Will comes back, I'll check the chat here. All right, let me get my notes back up. Excuse me. I'm very thirsty. Maybe I'll message the wife. Do you guys have to use the restroom or anything?
No, I'm good.
Because now would be the time to go.
I'm fine.
Back.
Oh, there he is.
There we go. Is it working?
Your camera's off. You might have to go in the bottom and turn it back on.
Oh wow, why is that so small?
It happens.
Unfortunately.
Haha, there we go. All right, I'm back. Sorry, everybody.
No, it's all right. So, with that, everyone is really excited. The word spreads really quickly. They're running about left and right. People are getting cleaned up. They're getting as much drinks as they can. There's a circle that has now been formed. The suns are going down, and they put little lights, little torches and stuff, creating this very much festival style event. You have several people that have bust out, sticks that are, beating on plastic tins and making as best music as they can. A few people have got some instruments that managed to make it through the battles, and everyone is really excited to be part of this. 1 second. What is Merle and Garmore doing at this point, leading into this excitement?
All right,
Sharon
final
has
call for bets. Final call for bets. What's your bets?
What's the terminology used for someone who manages the bet pool?
Hey. Did he just freeze now? What?
No,
Bookie.
Oh, bookie.
a bookie.
Oh, there you go.
Is Merle being a bookie now?
That's what it sounds like.
Garmore is sharing his conclusion about finding a component that has a higher acidic level for the antitoxin, sharing it with Feli and the other druids and healers.
Everyone is super excited. Are you going to watch the show, or are you going to go and run with them to finish trying to get some of this made?
I am going to help them get this made.
All right. So, in spite of all the excitement that's going on, you managed to convince a couple of the other people that this is more important. And so you guys run into your official little office now, which is used to be like a temple of sorts. And you start kind of mixing these new chemicals and testing them throughout the night. You already gave me a medicine check, I think, earlier, didn't you?
Yeah, but that
For
was
that?
to come to the earlier conclusion.
Now
of
you got to
the...
make it. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead and give me a nature check and a medicine check, please. All right. With that, everyone is ground around. Everyone's shouting, "Good time, good time."
Nature and medicine?
Yes.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Fortunately, my nature sense talent grants me advantage on both.
Nice. So everyone's gathering around, everyone's chanting. Merle has got like a big giant cart full of like food and booze and drinks and amulets and pretty much everything, anything anybody could find of value. There's a couple tools in there, people that, my hammer is my most precious thing, there's just a pile of any other day would be garbage, but it's basically what's valuable now, right? That's the way a catastrophe works, right? The money doesn't become valuable, it's the resources, right? So he has this big giant pile, and he's got a massive list you're just running through as you're scribbling your details on with your ink and quill on the paper you use for your blueprints there, Merle. And you get one little old lady walks up. She's just frail as can be, and she walks up, "Sonny, I would like to cast my vote for the big hunk. Can you help me?"
We can certainly do that.
I don't have much except this. And she reaches up and pulls the wig off her head. So,
Mop head for the big burly orc. Next.
all right. And she says, "Thank you, Sonny." And she kind of just wobbles away. With that, Zorax has taken a time away from his readings to come be a part of this. He is in the center of the aisle, and he's echoing with a large booming voice, no doubt with the use of magic, and he says, "Ladies and gentlemen,
Oh no.
you ready to rumble?" And he says, "In this not round corner, or not true corner," and he points over to the side, and he says, "standing at 7.6, 7'6", the man, the myth, the legend." And all you see before he can finish, Osif just busts out. His body is greased up. He's wearing a loincloth. His body is coated in scars. And you guys start hearing the real American Hulk theme song coming through these impromptu instruments. Dun, 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 dun. And he's flexing. He's taking on poses. Good time, good time. And he's cheering. He's running in there, and he's pointing at people. He's really excited. Once again, he's got a big snarl on his face though, because you can't. It's a smile, but that's just how he smiles. And he's like,
Before you
"Ugh."
continue, can I give you my results on the checks?
I guess.
My nature check is 32, and my medicine is a 26.
Nice. I'll narrate that shortly. So he
Oh,
comes
wait,
out.
sorry. Make that 26 for nature as well.
Not 32.
Yeah. It's not wisdom based.
Right. All right. So he comes in there and he steps in. He's flexing, and Merle, you look over and you see that little grandma going woo. She's like screaming and cheering, and you don't know where that energy comes from. She goes, "Oh, Sif, yeah, knock his block off." And with that, Zorax turns and he says, "In the opposite not corner, we have the old, the wise, the mighty Cecil." How does Cecil enter?
So you see all of 5'9", 140-pound Cecil walk in and take off his old tattered cloak, take one last puff of his pipe and hand it off. You see, surprisingly looks stronger than you might think.
Pretty ripped.
And then he goes,
All right, betting's closed.
"All right, Opus. Good time."
And for the record, I shuffle off to behind Orsiv. Listen to him. "Hey, Orsiv. Do you know the alligator for you winning R1 to 3? Guess they figure that anybody dumb enough to challenge a big old orc isn't so dumb after all. Take that."
He says, "I don't know what that means, but I've got this."
I bet you're gonna lose.
What?
You sent me a message while I was up. I walked in here and you said nothing, and you waited until I went back and sat down to get the message.
That message was already on its way a while ago.
I was up.
I thought you... So I sent her a message to get me water, and apparently she walked in here and I didn't really pay attention or notice, and then didn't ask her for water.
Yeah, 'cause
Oh,
I feel-
no.
She passed her stealth check for sure.
You passed your stealth check, that's what they said. More likely my perception and wisdom is just so low that I didn't notice. Alright, so, with that,
Means Orsiv, they're betting you're gonna lose. You're not gonna take that, are you?
what? I thought I had the bigger number. He's one, I'm
Exactly.
3. 3 people say
Exactly.
I'm gonna win.
Oh, I said, you're not gonna take that, are you?
No, I'm gonna win.
That's the spirit.
So you guys both step in the ring together. You know, it's outlined. Basically, it's line in the sand. Somebody took their sword and just made a circle, and everyone is surrounded. The crowd is chanting.
Or I didn't.
Go
Or I
ahead.
didn't tell him was they actually bet that Cecil's gonna lose.
So you lied to him. Give me a. I didn't realize you lied. You're going with that. Yeah, he doesn't. He's not very. Insight and intelligence isn't exactly his strong suit. He's not dumb, but he's not really, you know.
Right.
I was incorrect again. It was a 28 nature check.
Yeah, I saw your post.
Okay.
And so with that, hang on a second here. He stops up. He walks, and he is just towering over top of Will, or not Will, over top of Cecil.
Cecil.
He says, "Are you ready for this?" He starts doing the peck pop, and there's boom, 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 boom. He flexes. Oh, he's glowing because of all the flash and the grease that's on his body. He says, "This is easy contest." And Zorak says, "No, not right now." And you see him looking at his sword. And he gets back into it, and he announces, "All right, everyone. I want a good, clean fight. Lots of blood. I mean, a good, clean fight, no blood. The rules are simple. First person out of the ring loses. You can use whatever tricks you want." And then Osif turns and says, "Can we just make a rule to not kick each other in the genitals?"
Deal.
I mean, he looks at Cecil and says, "You probably aren't ever going to want to have children or can have children, but I still want to. So I want little baby Osifs running around." So what do you think?
Fair enough. Fair
Okay.
enough.
All right. With that, let us get ready to rumble. And he bellows
reach
and
out.
roars.
To
Go-
shake his hand, and I tell him, "You're gonna lose," and he has to pass a DC 18 Wisdom check.
A tingle runs through his body. What happens? That's you.
I already said my command. I said you're.
Oh my God! That totally went over my head.
God!
He kind of just shrugs it off. He says, "Whatever you say, let's do this." All right, and I'm going to count that as your action.
Fair enough.
And now he tries to throw a massive, like, wide right hook towards your head, and you kind of just barely even move as you twist out of the way. As the swing goes right over your head. I'm thinking very much Master Roshi style fighting, where you're not moving hard, but you're moving just barely enough to avoid the blows as it's twisting back and forth. And you're stepping and twisting left and right with your feet. He tries to do another action to shove you out of the way. And once again, you slowly lift, just float around him. What do you do?
I barely look like I move as I jab quickly into his ribs, and you see this like big puff of air come off of him as I just hit him with a few fingers and push him back.
Does he get a save or anything?
Nope. And it doesn't even do any damage.
Oh, that's right, because you're spelled. God damn it. All right. So with that, you guys see those several, little like finger jabs and a burst of air, and you see Osif slide and his feet drag on the ground as he's pushed out of the ring. And he looks around and he kind of shakes his head and he says, "All right, let's." And you hear Zorax, "The winner, Cecil." "What? No, we just started. What are you talking about?" And everyone is screaming, "Boo, boo, what is this? He's in on it, it's rigged. What is this? They're cheating." They're robbing us of our stuff. Starts going back and forth, back and forth. So, Will, would you like to tell everyone what just happened?
Yeah, I used dominate person on on Osiv before the fight even started, and didn't expect him to fall out of the ring that quickly.
He basically, in my mind, I'm seeing that Aang versus the in the last Avatar Airbender, where he's using airbending basically to knock the guys out of the ring, and Osiv goes flying back, and everyone is pissed. They are so pissed off. He twists back and he rages like, "This is not right." He looks at you. The old man cheated. I know you did. How did you do it?
I simply tell Osiv the rules were first one out of the ring and no kicking in the groin.
You cheated. I know you did. I didn't feel. And he is like shaking in confusion. Best 2 out of 3.
What does the crowd think?
They all erupt in cheers.
All right. That's 2 out of 3.
I'm just gonna keep your high initiative roll. So Zorak says, "Whew, I thought it was all over in an instant. That's no good." All right, Cecil. Back into the ring. Another guy uses his sword to fix the scrape marks. He dusts himself off. He is furious with you now. He starts just budging in, and he goes in to do a smash attack. He lunges in for an attack, or in this case, a brutish attack for a 16 to AC.
16. 1 second.
That's okay.
Oh crap.
Do you have any techniques or spells to counter that?
All right. I have resistance against it, but he hits.
All right. So he lands a massive blow, and you quickly kind of speak a word, and your body just kind of twists into a tight like stone as it just connects, and you guys can hear the crunching of his fingers and his bones as he smashes into it, and you kind of get a bit of a rushed pain through your body. Your power didn't stop the blow entirely, and you skid right to the edge of the platform. Yeah, what are you gonna do? He cheers. Oh!
Do I take damage, or is he just like?
No, we're
basically
not.
hitting
No,
push
I'm
me?
not. I'm
Okay.
not. I'm not treating damage or anything like that. It's
Okay.
not that kind of fight. So. But
All
because
right.
you said you had resistance, you didn't get knocked out on the first blow.
Yes. Yeah. All right. How do I want to do this?
Do you have another spell slot for dominate person?
I do. I do. So I look at him, and I point to him again.
He
and
says,
I tell
"Don't
him,
you dare!"
I'm gonna flip you over, and you're gonna land on your back so hard, it's gonna wake up your mom. And I
Alright.
rush at him, and I grab him, and I rip him. I try to like grab him and rip him up over my head to just smash him.
Let me do the save for the spell first.
Yep.
Ugh, son of a bitch. All right. How do you toss him out of the ring? I at least wanted him to win once.
Oh, I didn't toss him out of the ring.
Oh, you didn't?
I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I grabbed him and I smashed him over my shoulder, so he goes headfirst into the ground.
Oh, and he bellows, and as he's passing over, good move, as he smashes into the ground head first. The crowd erupts, and he stands up, shakes all the sand and dirt off, and begins charging back at you.
This puts me back in the center of the ring, too.
Okay, so now he's going to try to grapple you, which is a contested check. What you're going to have to do is make an acrobatics or athletics check. You get to choose, and tell me what the roll is. He has a 22.
Oh, I got a 17.
So he gets a firm grip on you and puts you in a full Nelson, and says, I've got you. And he starts walking you to the edge of the ring as you're fighting back. You've planted your feet. You're pushing them hard as you can, and he's still moving you. You get within about a foot of the ring. What do you do?
Oh gosh. I mean, technically, I didn't do any damage to him,
Okay.
right?
Right. So is the spell still going?
So the spell would still be going.
Yep. He basically, you are really professional wrestlers now. You're both in on it, is basically what's going on.
Yes. So I say, you're not throwing me out of the ring. And I push his arms up and slip out the bottom and push him back to the center.
And he kind of just does this over elaborate as he slides back, and he winks at you as he slides back. Before he rebounds, Garmore, you are sitting there in a laboratory with two of your assistants. You've had several accidents in your experiments, but as you mix there's the final little chemicals. There's a little poof out of the vial, and one of your assistants turns to you. He's like, "By golly, Garmore, I think you've done it.
There's one last thing to do.
We have to test it.
That's it. Yes.
But who do we test it on? What if we're wrong?
That's a good question. We have to relay this to Rhea.
And let her make the decision?
Not exactly. We have to at least inform her.
Are you going to test it first?
We must, but we have to keep her appraised of the situation.
Right, but if we don't know the outcome, will she be okay with us? I think that we should test it first, then tell her. Because she might not let us test it right away if there's risk.
We inform her of this development before we do anything going forward. And that is the end of this discussion. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, Master Garmore. I understand. You can tell that she isn't happy with your answer, and she's a little frustrated. She's walking away. She's like, we worked so hard. We need to know. People are dying. And he wants to wait.
I'm keeping the vial on me, by the way.
Okay. So you head out to where the fighting or the good time is going on. People are cheering and crying, screaming. Give me a perception check to see if you can spot Rhea.
Okay, I'm going to use guidance on this.
Okay.
Ooh, that's pretty good. 28.
So you spot her, and she is standing. She is standing on top of one of the broken walls of a house or a building, a home, and she's holding onto it, and she's screaming and shouting. She's yelling for Osiv, and she's yelling for Cecil. She wants them both. She's kind of go not Garmore, go or Osiv. Come on, Cecil, you can do it. Get him by his loincloth, back and forth, that sort of thing. And you approach her, and she looks down at you and notices that you're not looking at the fight. Yeah. What's up, Garmore? She's kind of peeking around.
I hold I show her the vial of the antitoxin. After several attempts, we may possibly have a working antitoxin. It hasn't been tested yet. I thought I should inform you on this development.
I see. So, she says, come into my office, which isn't her office, it's just the building. She nudges you in. She says, well, we have a couple options here. The quickest response and the quickest learning experience would be to test it. I would say reach out to somebody who only has a day or so left to see if they're willing to take it.
All right.
If they
Some
take
of my
it,
assistants,
go ahead.
some of my assistants were not too happy of not informing you, testing it before your permission.
Yes, I understand. They're losing their friends, their family every day to this disease. So for you to be able to test it as quickly as possible, I understand. But I appreciate you coming to me first. Go. Find some of the, head to one of the ill who only has a few days left and see if they're willing to take it now.
Understood. And I run off.
Make sure, before you run off, make sure that you tell them the risk. That you know it's untested. And then it could speed up the process.
I understand.
Okay. Then you kind of run off. Meanwhile, the battle is just flailing. People, they're flipping over each other. They're jumping back and forth. They're slamming each other in the dirt. Dust is getting kicked up. This is just a grand show. I need a perception check from Merle. As somebody is... Wow. I'll give me a perception check, Merle.
18.
So as... I probably should make this stealth check first. Ah, crap. So as this cheering and stuff is going on, you glance back just long enough to spot a pair of young kids, probably like 12 or 13, pulling stuff out of the back of the cart that you've stuffed all the prizes and stuff into. They can't be no older than like 13.
Let me look at my spell list quickly.
Oh, son of a bitch.
What?
He's going to the spell list.
He's gonna cast spells on kids.
Fireball. What? No.
It's on the list, but let me see here. That one.
Make the kids fight it out, and the winner gets to take what they took.
So with this, while he's looking at his spell list, we'll come back to that. The battle is going left and right, tossing. At this point, you guys are now 1 for 1. The battle is rough, but you guys are putting on a glorious show. Now it's all just for show. So I'm going to need a performance check from you,
Okay.
Will.
A 13.
All right. So as as Osif charges and does an uppercut, you miss the timing and you fly back with like 6 inches away, and you instantly hear, "He's faking it!" As you kind of tumble back after you do the dodge of his attack, and the other people say, "I saw it too. He had at least 6 inches."
And at that moment, above the kids' heads, I cast Thunder Wave.
Oh, son of a bitch! And so he
He
does.
That's a cubic wave, right? Not a blast.
Yeah, he can decide where it's at in the sky, basically like a firecracker is what I'm envisioning, right?
Pretty much.
Aim it up in the sky and it goes boom, right? So with that, just as
Stealing.
give me an Arcana check, Cecil.
Yeah. A 16.
All right. So you see Merle over there chanting a spell, and you're as this is all going on, you spot him chanting a spell, and you recognize the Thunderwave spell. So you move into position, you take on a defensive form, and as soon as this thunderous thing hits, you hit a punch, and right at the same time, it sounds like a thunderous crack comes from your punch, and you give the signal to Osiv, and he flies back out of the ring, and everyone is left stunned. Meanwhile, the kids have
Especially the people he crashed into.
right. So he goes flying out. He smashes into people. Several people get sprawled on the floor. And Merle, you look over, and the two kids instantly drop everything, and then there's just piss running down their pants. They're like, I'm sorry, sir. I was just hungry. That's all. We weren't trying to cause no trouble. Please don't hurt us.
Stealing.
Okay, and they skitter off, and you can see the trail of urine on the in the sand.
But
Everyone starts just screaming and bellowing and woo. And Osiv gets up and walks over and says, "Good fight." And he shakes your hand and he pulls you in for a brace, and he says,
Very oily.
he says, whispers in your ears, "I didn't know you could use magic, little one. I'll let this slide since it wasn't in the rules. But we will do this again. Do you understand me?" And he says it with a snarl on his face.
I'll see you again, Osiv.
And he holds up your arm and actually picks you up off the ground as he says, "You're champion for now." And he waves you around. And there's a lot of contention in the audience because some people realized it was fake and thought it was planned and are starting to kind of get riled up. Everyone is steamrolling over to poor Merle about how they were cheated and they want their stuff back. How are you going to handle that, Merle?
I just collected the bet.
So
The book, yeah.
so he's just got a list, so everyone's kind of coming and trying to collect. You start passing out all the stuff to the best of your ability to kind of equal out. Some people are upset that they got stupid things like a hat with a hole in it. Another person's upset that they got a water jug that looks like it's piss. So everyone's just kind of, you're just passing out stuff as you go through this, and some people are happy, some not so much.
Yeah, I walk in and I take my dagger and the owl bear necklace, and I walk up to Osiv and I hand him my dagger.
He holds it on his finger and he says, "Perfectly balanced." "Thank you, Cecil. But
And I
next
hold up
time,"
the necklace and I say, "Thank you."
he says, "but next time, no magic. Muscle only." And he flexes a little bit. And you now have grease like all over you, especially when he
That
because he
hug,
lifted you. With that, Garmore, you have walked into the temple area where you have some of the sicker people. You have
Makeshift hospital.
your makeshift hospital. I feel like there's a word for that, but I'm not smart enough to know what it is.
Like a field
Hurry.
hospital.
A what? A medical tent, maybe?
Yeah, medical tent,
Infirmary.
field hospital.
Infirmary. There we go.
That's
Let's
a
go
good
with
word,
that.
okay.
Let's go with that one. See, I'm not smart. So you work to the makeshift infirmary, and you've sent your two minions, I guess, to find. Well, they're aides, right? And to find some of the sickest, and they bring you to a young girl, can't be more than 20 years old. She's really ill. She's coughing. She's in serious pain. And she looks up and says, "Master Garmore, can you make it stop? Please, it hurts so bad." Her tears are just running down her eyes. She's got, the trembles. She grabs onto you and pulls you in. "Please. I don't want to die." What are you going to do?
I
Bless you.
bless you.
I bless all of
Um,
you.
I may speak to her. There has been a development. We have potentially, but untested, mind you, vial of antitoxin. Now, given your condition, there is possibly a chance that this will help you recover, help you get better. But the other chances are that it will be ineffective. It is a tremendous gamble. So I'm asking you, are you willing to be subject to an experiment to see the effectiveness of this antitoxin?
You look down at her, and she's so weak looking. Her hair is falling out in places. She's all gaunt. Sir? So, it could save me? Or it could kill me?
Not, there's no trying to word this correctly as a player. I did not say that it would kill you. There's a chance that it will not work.
Which is might as well be dead. But I'm gonna die anyway.
So I'm asking if you are willing to participate in this experiment for the sake of everyone alive still in Elturel.
She takes a deep breath. She says, I have 3 younger siblings. They have no one. If I take this and don't make it, will you and the commander take care of them?
I will address this to her. We will take care of them.
She nods her head. She takes a deep breath. She says, okay. She's breathing really heavy. She says,
I ask for the aides.
Let's do it.
I gesture the aides to help minister the antitoxin.
So here's what's going to happen. It can save her. But because it's untested and not refined, it has a potential adverse effect, especially since she's so far along. So what you need to do is give me a Constitution save with a +1, and you have to do better than a 10.
On save +1. Beat a 10. Use my Druid dice, not this new one that I got from the birthday party that I went to.
So, as a player, I will tell you, if you've got any spells or anything that can help you increase those odds, if you can tell me what they are and you think that they would work, then I am perfectly happy to increase that bonus. Like, do you have the lesser regeneration or lesser restoration or greater restoration, all those?
I have those, and I haven't spent much, have I?
No, not today, no.
All right.
So, because you have those, or the greater restoration, I'm willing to give it a +2 bonus. Are there any other spells that you might have, or powers or features that you might be able to aid you in this?
Not that I know of that's prepared. I have both restoration spells prepared.
Yep.
I have enhance ability, but that's more for ability checks, not saves.
Guidance doesn't help with saves either, does it?
No, it's only for ability checks. The one the cantrip you're thinking of is resistance.
Yeah, that's the one. Yep. All right. Well, then we will make it a 13 when you combine it with your greater restoration spell. or a +3 instead of a +1 to the con save. But your
Okay.
goal is to beat a 10,
Okay.
or she dies.
Ten exactly total.
Oh
I rolled a 7.
no! All right, so you tilt her head back. She looks at you and says,
But you said it was that I have to be a 10 or higher, right?
"Yeah,
Okay. That's what I got.
like a death save, right? 10 or higher."
Yeah.
So you tilt her head back, and you down it down her throat, and you speak a couple words, and then you imbue her body with the Greater Restoration spell. Green energy envelops her, and she starts to gurgle and choke, and she starts to flail wildly. Her body is thrashing in left and right, and she's screaming in agony and pain. And this happens for a good probably 30 minutes, where she's just uncontrollable. Your aides and you are trying to kind of constantly hold her down. You finally get her restrained and strapped as she's flailing wildly before she just completely passes out.
Check her vitals.
Give me a medicine check.
With guidance. And because of my talent, I have advantage on medicine. I'm so scared right now. Let's see. Medicine. 19 total. And that's with
Why were you
guidance.
scared? So as you start looking around,
Because I rolled a natural 8 and my guidance was a 1.
So as you check her vitals, you look at her body. Her tremors have stopped. Her breathing is steady. And so far as you can tell, the majority of the symptoms are beginning to stop. You believe you've been successful. You won't know till morning for 100%, but you're pretty confident. But you're not happy with the side effect of the flailing. So while it's acceptable, it could still use a bit of refining. But as far as you can tell, it was a success.
I say to the aides, let it be known that while the antitoxin did work, a greater restoration spell was used during the administration, and the adverse side effects of the administration makes the testing antitoxin unrefined. Further testing is required, and further refinement is desperately needed in order to make this more effective and not as adverse as what we just witnessed. Let that be known.
But, sir, should we go ahead and administer what we do have while you refine it?
No.
We'll save more lives that way, won't we?
You forget that Greater Restoration is a 5th level spell and very costly.
I see.
We cannot rely on such magics with limited resources that requires material consumption.
I understand.
We must refine this more effectively and in a way that will not require us to use restoration and create the side effects as we witnessed.
I understand. I will let everyone know, and we'll continue the refinement process. To my understanding, you are traveling to the Senate, correct?
On the day of the meeting, yes.
Leave your notes with us, and we will continue the investigation.
Very well.
With that, is there anything Cecil and Ian's gone? Is there anything Cecil wants to do before the night comes to a
No.
close?
Ian's just a cat.
Yeah, somebody polymorphed him. I always knew he was a pussy. I'm kidding. Cat. Pussy. Cat.
Guess I would just after the fight I would make sure, the crowd that was watching, there weren't people there that weren't supposed to be there. I'm still pretty wary of it.
Give me a perception check.
Ian's back, by the way.
9.
You don't spot anything out of the ordinary. You do spot a standout spider web.
Okay.
Um,
Oh,
yeah. Let me give you some.
yeah.
Get, trying to think of how I want to do this.
How do you want to do this, DM?
Yeah, right.
Not every day that's asked.
I'm just gonna message Will exactly what he needs to know.
Okay.
Is there anything Merle wanted to do before I close the night out?
I want to investigate that sulfur smell, but that's about it.
That's in the precinct 4. You're not. That's outside the city.
Okay.
So I do want to say that there is a bit of a cut for you for running the being the bookie.
Bookie of the contest?
Yes, bookie of the contest. You found a interesting item in the loot that you kept for yourself. Basically, what happened is when all this stuff came in, you went and picked the few things that you wanted out of this collection. So, if I recall, there was an uncommon magic item on your list, if I remember right. Do you recall which one it was?
Let me go check.
So those of you who don't know, I asked all my players to share with me some ideal magic items they would like to get during the adventure. And this compiling of people's shit that they don't need just seemed like a really good opportunity.
That's
Because
a great idea.
so we'll have him pull up his list for Merle Bronson.
Only one I'm guessing that is off this is probably the goggles of
Yes, that's it. Yep.
Yep.
So you find these interesting goggles that manage to change color and let you see really far in the dark. So yeah, so you can scratch that off your list and add it to your inventory.
Excellent.
I thought that was pretty sly. I was like, how can I reward that? That's pretty cool. Let's do something with it. All right, so with that, the night and the next day kind of fly by in a breeze. A lot of stuff's going on. I need one more medicine check from Garmore to determine how long it takes him to refine the last part of the potion.
All right. Guidance and
Don't
nature
fail
sense.
me now.
Yep, don't fail me. Except. Why? It might be good. It might be good. Oh boy. Well, my highest was a natural 4, but I have a +10 to medicine, and my guidance was a 3, so that's a 17 total.
You've made some progress. You think that it'll probably take another week or so to get it fully refined. You've managed to stop the violent reaction, but you haven't figured out how to get the full effect without using magic. You did get it down to where you no longer need greater restoration, just the aid of lesser restoration. So you've made some progress, but you have now tasked your aides to identify what is it about the magic specifically that it's attacking that helps reduce it. Is it a specific thing that the medicine doesn't cover? So they're going to continue that investigation while you are gone.
Yeah.
All right. With that, you guys are with your buddy Osiv. Everyone, at this point, if there's any special gear you guys think you need, you're fully rested, you've got all your spell slots, all that jazz. Is there any special gear you think you want to take with you?
Not particularly.
I would just leave my notes with my aides, and well, I leave them with Feli because she seems more experienced than the other aides. I trust her work.
Mm-hmm.
I trust that she makes the same judgment as I did regarding the experiment. So I leave the notes particularly to her. And yeah.
Okay. With that, the soldiers approach the Boros Legion, and Jara is there. Well met. Salutes.
I nod.
Hi.
Very engaging. Gissiv says, I don't know about anybody else, but this is kind of exciting. Think about it. We're about to enter a city that nobody from Faerun has ever seen. A world that nobody from Faerun has ever experienced. I think. Doesn't that get you a little excited?
Oh, only one way to find out.
Hopefully, we make a good impression.
Well, if you need anything carried, my men will take care of it. So that has several soldiers wander up with big war horses. But you notice that the horses have 6 legs. They have 2 up front and 2 sets of legs in the far front and 1 set in the far back. And they have long tendrils coming out of their tails instead of fur, horse, whatever it is.
Hair.
Yeah, it's not. Is it hair?
I don't know.
I don't know if it's fur or hair. Told you I'm not smart. So, with that, you guys begin the march, and the sound.
Sorry, I forgot to say, before we started marching, I did cast a spell on myself.
What spell?
Mage armor.
Okay. Last 8 hours, right?
Yep.
Okay. Any other prep like that being done?
Mm,
Did you share the information, Will, or no? Did you keep that to yourself?
No. The most I shared the information was just among our group to say, keep your eyes peeled on the walk.
Okay. As you're beginning your trek, he says, well, we'll have a small escort because there's so few of you. I have 1 contingent of soldiers. I think that should be enough. We don't expect any trouble, but it's hard to know for sure. As I said before, not every one of the guilds is happy that you're welcoming to you and your kind. At this point, it's worth saying, Zorax did finally come with you, and he explained how he had figured it all out and blah blah blah, and he's not here, so I'm not gonna try pretending to be him, but he did go through and explain that to you as you guys are walking. He's super excited. He believes that he has mastered the language. And
I'll try to remind Austin for next week to roleplay that as a retcon, or maybe
if he has time. He'll be able to share his moments because of where I'm planning to leave off. So,
all right.
I'm trying to figure out how many people would be in a contingent. I'm thinking like 20 or 30, but I don't know exactly how big squads are and shit for.
I think you can research that in the off weeks.
Yeah. Anyway, so he's got a contingent of soldiers. The rest have stayed outside of the gates of the city. Not only, according to Jara, it's not only for your protection, but for theirs as well. So you begin the trek, and the city is vast and massive. As you begin to enter into lower precinct 1, you can see people of all varieties, and it's really mind blowing. Several of the people you see almost look like upright elephants. As you're walking through, many have green and plant-like features, with like leaves for hair and all kind, like the variety of creatures slash people that you see is so vast. Yes, there's regular humans, but there's so many people that have a variety of, you see some humanoid figures that look human but might have one or two different core features that are different on their body, like one arm that's a claw or gills. You see several people that are completely blue, in their skin color and tone. Everyone is kind of clears the way for you guys as you begin your marching through this city. And as you are marching, let me find this really quick. Hang on. Oh, what the hell! Sometimes I hate this stuff. It doesn't always work right.
Yeah, well.
So you're making your way through precinct 1. The core of the area starts to become pretty obvious. It's very grandiose. You easily find yourself kind of gawking at the impressive architecture, and you can see that each building kind of rubs shoulders up against each other. Everything's kind of squished together. But it clearly, aside from the destruction your city's arrival caused, basically crushing thousands and thousands of buildings, it's immaculately maintained. The avenues and gardens are manicured to create a sort of impressive, order and civility. You can see the people seem to carry themselves with a bit of, I don't want to say snootiness, but like snootiness, a bit of superiority, but also with a bit of intrigue as you're kind of making your way through the streets. Once again, the soldiers are making way for people. The streets are filled with, government officials, diplomats, merchants. You can see them carrying with giant, carts that just have pristine carving on them. You can see a variety of diplomats and just the people that are in this area are clearly, you're in an area of upper scale, right? The place here is well refined and is, I would say, affluent, right? Wealthy.
Any sign of plant life?
You see small, like like the really thin trees that kind of line some of the areas, but for the most part, it's solid structures. Did you want to ask anybody about anything like that?
No, I was just asking if I could see them.
Well, the reason I'm saying, because if you ask somebody, they could probably tell you a little bit more about the area as you're walking along with Jara. He says, "So, what do you think of this grand city?"
Massive.
Well, of course it is. The entire world is one large city. Sure, it's a variety. It has its different areas and segments. We call them precincts. Currently, you're in precinct 1. Do you guys have any questions for him? Now is the opportunity to ask questions about the world, about him, about the guilds, whatever you want.
Do you know if there are any, what is the word for your tongue? Druids? Or guilds of druids?
I help him interpret a little bit.
Yep, so Cecil is there to kind of finish the interpretations, and then Zorax jumps in saying, "Action! Yes, it's this word. It's right." Good job, Cecil. He's really excited. He says, "Yes, we have a entire guild dedicated to that sort of thing. It's not really my thing. I can't tell you much, but if you give this dungeon master a second, he will tell you something. Oh my god, the damn book is so big.
Like, you have the physical book or something?
I do. I have both. Right now, I'm using my digital one, but I do have the other book right here.
How thick is it?
I don't know. It's 250, 300 pages. But when you're looking for something very specific,
Yeah.
it becomes a bit of a pain in the ass.
Mm.
Because when I know exactly what it is I'm looking for, I can normally search it, but the guild names are used so much that doesn't work. So he says, yes, the Selesnya Enclave. I almost envy their naivete that leads them to retreat into their little communes and pretend that they've just built this perfect just society. Sorry, that's just my personal opinion on the matter. I'm sure they don't see themselves that way.
Will any of members of such an enclave be witnessing this meeting that we're partaking?
I'm gonna be honest. Probably, I don't really know. That's really above my pay grade. I do know that they probably will send some envoys. Everyone's very interested in your guys' arrival, and you've certainly made quite the impact on our little society. But anyways, the Selesnian Conclave, they're organized enclaves. They're a collection of I think they call themselves enclaves called the Vernandi, and somebody corrects them. It's Vernadi. He says, yeah, those, which are basically little communes built around their central little trees and stuff. Basically, they have little smaller guild halls. It's almost like they got their own little city inside of a city, I guess.
Mm.
Very confusing, I know. They damn tree huggers. He looks over at Merlin and says, "Your boots are very intriguing. That looks like something that would be found in the Izzet Guild. They make trinkets and stuff like that all the time."
Really? I'll put that on my list. Them out at some point.
Oh yes, absolutely. They are. I gotta keep scrolling back to this. It's annoying. Because the segments that I'm reading are in two different like parts of the book.
Right.
So he says, there it is. He says, the only problem with the Izzet is they don't really understand the concept of, limits. If they just kept their spellcraft under control, they could truly be a benefit to society. Problem is half the stuff they make blows up.
Are you referring to moral or legal limits?
That's a hard decision because while we're always keeping tabs, you can't know what they're all doing. But generally, they keep to themselves. They're not too terrible. Sometimes they do break the law, but doesn't everybody? Otherwise, we'd be out of a job. Which honestly, I could use a vacation.
Honestly, before you have my interest, now you have my attention.
Which says
That's
a
fine.
lot coming from him.
So as you guys are making your way through town, the crowds begin to thin, and you see Jara kind of walk up and talk to some of his men, and he's giving them some little bit of details left and right.
I prepare an action.
What's that?
I prepare a firebolt
For what?
for what might be coming.
Do I see that?
You would notice him channeling a spell, yeah.
Put that away, Cecil.
Yeah, Trip.
Well, he wouldn't notice it. 'Cause,
Oh
like, I don't
yeah,
do
he's no, yeah, you're right.
yeah, he wouldn't notice
You're
it.
telling me as the dungeon master. I gotcha.
Yeah.
He takes on a form, and energy starts coursing through his body, right? Like a almost like a key, right? You're building up and you're kind of radiating, kind of like Goku. The energy's kind of radiating from you, right?
Whatever
Uh,
you're doing, stop it.
Even then, I don't think he would be able to tell the way I'm casting it.
It's up to you. I just flavored that.
Okay.
You're right. If you want to keep it subtle, because is that what you're doing? You don't want it to be obvious.
Right.
Okay. I would say they would still get a shot to recognize that you're doing something. So I would
That's
say
fair.
give me an insight check, Matt.
Oh, that's pretty good. 25.
So you can tell he's doing something. He's concentrating or focusing on something. What exactly it is making maybe he's uneasy about something. He's definitely doing something out of the ordinary that you hadn't really seen.
I just want to point out, was Zorax and Merle present? Is this the one he's worrying about?
Right?
Yeah, I'm the old little man.
So
Doing
with that, all of the soldiers around you take on a defensive stance as about 5 or 6 of them instantly fall. Crashing lightning and bolts of energy streak from windows, from rooftops, all out of nowhere. And Jara shouts, "We're under attack!" And you see these soldiers, if you can call them that, these well-dressed knights, I would say, with their faces concealed under big helmets with black sunburst symbol engrossed on their helmets, on their black capes, and all over and on a couple pieces on their chest, as they all leap out and begin an onslaught, attacking the soldiers, flinging spells in your guys' general direction. Battle is broke out in the middle of the city streets. The area of tourists and citizens, they all begin scattering. Several, fall to crossfire and blasts. Soldiers are dropping left and right. Everyone begins to try to take cover, and that's where we're going to end the session.
Ah.
Excellent.
So this way, when Zorax comes back, he'll be able to
He
participate
can join
in
us.
it. Yeah.
Perfect.
I think that'll do it for our game tonight. I want to thank everyone who joined us. Hopefully you enjoyed hanging out with us and watching us play Dungeons and Dragons, our Planeshifter episode 3. Before we close out, let's go around the table. Tell me who you're playing and what do you like about the game. Let's start with Matt.
Hi, my name is Matthew, and I play Garmor, the Moon Druid. This was a very interesting and hectic session, particularly with me, because I decided the fate of that young lady.
That's part of
I
being a
just
healer,
can't-
bro. I love it.
I just cannot believe that with Greater Restoration, bonus plus her con gave me 10 on the dot
Right?
for her to not suffer.
That was close.
I know.
That was a little
Way
Which is-
too
close.
close.
I love it. Ian.
And once again, I'm Ian Wood. I'm playing Artificer Merle Bronson, and I just had a good time tonight, kind of delegating behind the scenes, if you will, the betting pool.
How did you like the reward? How was that? I didn't know.
I
what
am
you,
not complaining.
I was gonna say I didn't know what you were planning on there, but
Thing in particular.
yeah, as you're going through it, I'm like, shit. Okay, if he's becoming a bookie, he needs something, but money's not really valuable right now. Well, I'll give him an item. Shit. What are we? Okay, yeah. Okay, and Will.
Yeah, I was playing Cecil, the Four Elements monk, And
He
even
isn't.
though I'm 5'9", 140, and super old, I earn the respect of an orc giant in a wrestling match.
Yes, when you message me about the dominate person, I'm like, damn. Steve would like to say the audience awarded inspiration goes to Cecil for the WWE SmackDown. I love it. Wonderful. My name's Justin. I am the Dungeon Master, and honestly, I absolutely love the amount of involvement when it comes to the players in trying to deal with the directions to take. Options were presented to you, and especially with the regards to going directly into the Senate, I thought there would be a little bit more of a fight on my hands with that. So I was pretty excited for that. I love the WWE SmackDown. I love the booking, and I loved Matt's play on taking care of people. That's really awesome. So I think that'll do it for our show today. Please join us in 2 weeks where we begin our first interaction with cross guild politics. Aggressive negotiations, maybe. I'm really excited. But Steve says Matt's play for the antitoxin was awesome. Yeah, I agree.
Thank you, Steve.
So with that, if you're interested, I do run the Dungeons and Dragons podcast, or I'm gonna say it's the Dungeons and Dragons talk show. I don't think I'm gonna call it podcast anymore. I run the Dungeons and Dragons podcast talk show, Crit Academy, every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Please come and join us. This week at 7 p.m., we're going to be talking how to design and write a D&D adventure your camp and campaign your players will love. I'm super excited for that. And I've got a lot of stuff to share with you guys. So please come join us. And hopefully you'll have a good time. Also, keep an eye out for our Wondrous Expeditions, which is a collection of 10 adventures from level 1 till 10. That'll be hitting Kickstarter in October. So we're going to be releasing one of the adventures ahead of time as a sneak peek. So with that, I think we can close out today. Let us all wave our hands and say goodbye to everyone. Keep your blade